Hi guys! Welcome to PIXIENATORY. I'm Pixie and today I want to show you a small part of my art. I'm custom doll artist and welcome to my channel. Introduce you Estel, character that I made up a couple of years ago, and I also filmed this video then. Now you will see how I made her. So let's start my first ever doll video. As a base I took lovely monster high Draculaura. First of all I get rid of the factory paint. To do this I tie a ponytail with a regular rubber band. After that, with manicure scissors, I cut off all the hair as close to the roots as I possibly can. Welcome Simba, my dear full friend. And now it's done. When our poor thing becomes nearly bald, it's time to get rid of the hair stumps sticking out of her head. And now she's completely bald. With cotton pads, Q-tips and acetone remove factory makeup. It is essential to work in mask in well-ventilated area. I have no mercy for my dolls and therefore boldly clench doll's head to get access to the dips on her face. Cleaning of the doll's head should be as thorough as possible. Her head must be squeaky clean. As soon as it's clear, I am ready to make a weft for a wig. Take a piece of solid cardboard of needed size and wind the wefts from acrylic yarn on the board. After that, cut the loops off. Now you need to make more ponytails from threads. Swirl the lock into a simple tight knot in the center so that the fibers don't fall apart. The amount of tails depends on the amount of work. Now you need a piece of cotton fabric and a full comb. And slow process of the combing out the locks begins. There will be a lot of waste. Something can be crafted off the leftovers, so keep it. For example, you can stuff a toy with it. Ideally, you need such fluffies on both sides. With hair iron, straighten up our tails. Caution, you can get burned. I carefully comb the acrylic while it is still hot. Do the same with another color. I got such fluffy bulk. It's time to glue the wefts. Part the tail into sections and cut off a little of it under the very knot. Then apply glue and make a piece of dress on a film with a toothpick. It is important to apply the glue evenly over the fibers. So we got a ready-made weft. I cut off excess glue and give the weft a neat shape on the edge. Some wefts will be longer than the others. The tedious process is over and the interesting begins. It is new hairstyle time. In order to protect the head from glue, I put food film on it and secure it on the neck with elastic band. Well, now make Frodo Mummy. To do this, put on a piece of thin stretch cloth and secure it tightly on the doll's head. For comfortable work, trim edges of the future hair cap. With the pencil, I line the future cap right on top of the clothes. I used the same glue as before, but this time as hardener for the cap. This is ordinary PVA kind of glue, but you can use any you like. I like this one because it's convenient to work with. It dries into a transparent film and at the same time it's slightly elastic from some time after drying. You need to cover the entire cup richly, paying special attention to the edges. Then it will be more convenient to cut the desired shape. Now waiting until it dries. When the cap is dry, it must be carefully removed from the head and cut along the contour. Sometimes the cap may not work, so be sure to do fitting. Mine is okay and I pin it to the head with pins. And now the matter is small, glue everything up. I glue the wefts from the bottom up in the layers, alternating in the right places blonde and pink colors. Layer by layer, moving up to the parting. Before doing the parting, I do two tails. I twist a white weft into a spiral. I made two identical tails and now they need to be secured on the cap. With super glue I firmly glue both tails to the cap. Now I continue to glue the wig and hide junction places. Layer by layer, approaching the parting, I held myself with the toothpick and often brush hair as I assemble the wig. On each layer of the wig, I add pink locks. how the prettiest layer of the wig looks like. That's better. Now let's make beautiful parting. I glue the widest, thickest and most presentable threads to the top of the wig. You need to work carefully, therefore it is important to do it slowly, allowing the glue to dry. I do the same with the other side. And just combine. We got a nice mane with a nice parting. I can stop at this, but I'm going further. To hide the messy edges of the cap, I use one simple trick. To perform it, you need to remove the wigs from the head. We will glue the wig from the inside. And look at the result. The edges are not visible and the hairstyle is more dense. With the wig sorted out, go to the next stage. Let's prepare the body. I cut anchors to all of my dolls. With X-Acto knife I cut the anchor. Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Don't do as I do. Do it safely. I already cut dozens of dolls and so have my fingers. Don't repeat my mistakes. I like tip of the anchor to be smooth. I usually throw away the leftovers as unnecessary. With tip like that, the doll's head can be easily removed without fear of ruining the finished face-up. Most of work I'm doing with X-Acto knife. I do this carefully so as not to cut off too much. This is rough work, but important. With a small piece of sandpaper, I go all over the roughness left after the knife. I remove plastic dust with wet tissue and work in the mask. Eventually, I get a glass smooth figure of a doll without seams. I like to do face up on a doll wearing a thin gardening glove. I'm using Prismacolor pencils. I always start with the eye lines. For it, I usually use a pencil color that matches the skin tone or complements it. This time it's a light brown color. The pencil is sharp and I sharpen it in the process so that the lines are clean. There is nothing special to say about the process of drawing lines, so you yourself see everything, and therefore we will need just enjoy the process. I apologize in advance that the color of the picture will change from time to time. 2 years ago I was shooting with my phone camera and therefore the video quality is poor, but I hope you will forgive me. New videos will be much better. I draw both eyes parallel to each other, so that they keep more or less symmetrical. I'm not worrying about the mirror ideal symmetry, as I like it when imperfections remain in my work. Usually those are making face alive, just like humans. Besides Prisma pencils, I use some of the German watercolor pencils. In this work, I use them to draw eyebrows and pupils. Germans are softer pencils and therefore sometimes better suited to the specific task. As you may have noticed, my favorite and main material in my work is watercolor pencils. I love the fact that I have more control with them than with paints and brushes. By the way, I paint everything on the one sealant layer. Now the line and base are completely ready, I can start blushing. For blushing, I'm using my old pastels and cheapest ones from Mungyo. I pick my soft pastel straight from the chalk with the brush and apply pigment on the doll's face on the top of the line. It's okay if the pastel overlaps the pencil in the process. In the end, it is very easy to fix. I use many different brushes for my work. These are usually small brushes, like nail art brushes, art brushes, or makeup brushes. Any type of brush has its pros and cons, and therefore each artist chooses a set at his discretion. To cover large areas, you need fluffy soft brushes. To work on smaller details, flexible miniature brushes are more preferable. When the main work with the blush came to an end, I redraw with the pencil those lines that were covered with the chalks. I give them back their brightness and expressiveness. With watercolor paints, I add texture to the skin. I cover the area where the texture is not needed with a small paper sheet, and with the wet brush dipped into the diluted paint, I splatter micro drops onto the uncovered areas. remove bigger drops in the process with a Q-tip. This method allows the doll's face look more realistic and less plasticky. None of my face-ups is complete without the shimmers. I really love the soft, gentle glow on the doll's face, and as the law says, there is never enough. At the very end of the work, I use white gouache for scleras, highlights and accents. Where it is necessary, I also add brightness to the colors. I like it when my dolls are vibrant. And the final touches before covering all this beauty with the sealant. At this stage, to add a little bit of life to the face left, I use Tamiya gloss for eyes and lips. Read all the instructions carefully. Many materials are not safe for health at all. The matter is small, I cover lips and eyes with the glass. The face up is ready and we can start working on the doll's look. First of all, I'll teach you how to make pattern for a doll. The first main material in this case is paper tape. Wrap the doll's body tightly in a food film. Then we wrap around the body of the model small strips of paper tape. I do this along the contour of the future dress. When we have a paper base, we drop the outlines of the future patterns on it. At this stage, you don't need to worry about accuracy. Next, you need to carefully cut off the tape along with the film from the doll's body. Be careful with sharp tools, the plastic may be scratched. We cut the detail we got along the outlines. I usually keep the better half of the pattern and adjust it along the way. Remember that you may need to do darts. Such patterns often turn out to be very inaccurate, they need to be finalized. I do the final work on paper, already with all places for hemming. In that case, I'm sure that my workpiece will fit as it should. To make sure, I try on a paper piece on a doll. The dress will be out of PU fabric. It is thick, colorful material. I transfer the pattern to the fabric. And cut it out. Places for darts on the bust I do not cut. Then I make the patterns of the wings. This will be smaller for hands and shoes decorations. Now draw large wings for the back piece and cut them out. I made several additional layers of wings of different sizes. For the wings I use white PU fabric on a hard base. Transfer patterns on material and cut it out. This amount will be enough for me. Now let's do a little fitting. It's time for making shoe parts. I took the original image platform's shoes as a basis. Then I draw the outline of the pattern along the edge. I must say right away that such method is the least accurate of all for lazy creams, and here is why. And this is how the modified finished pattern should look like. Now I'm preparing fabric for the skirt. This is light, airy fabric with a gorgeous metallic sheen, and its edges creeps like hell. The question is solving with a lighter. And now we come to an end of the first video. Please leave a like and support the channel with a subscription. All these details will turn into an outfit in the second video, which you can watch just now by clicking the corner of the screen. Thank you for watching, write comments, I will read them with pleasure. Have a nice day, see ya in the next video.